As part of Natural Course, the Rivers Trust commissioned JBA Consulting and Lancaster University to model the potential impact of natural flood management on peak flows. The maps show which areas would be most beneficial for NFM interventions and also what intervention would be most suitable for the location. We spoke to South Cumbria, West Cumbria and Eden Rivers Trusts to find out how they have been using the maps.
So the NFM maps that were produced by the Rivers Trust were a really good tool for guiding us to specific areas to look at NFM opportunities. These NFM opportunities that we found were then put forward to our catchment management group, where they were focused down and allowed us to bid towards quite a significant amount of money as part of the DEFRA Natural Flood Management project.
We've used the maps as part of an evidence base for funding applications. We've been successful with a lot of those bids, so we're going to now be taking forward just under £1 million worth of funding.
The maps were really helpful last year when we were putting together a whole range of funding bids.
One of the things that was really interesting to us as part of the maps was actually looking at the catchment synchronicity. We focused on two particular catchments and found that they were reaching the communities downstream at the same time. So we could look at natural flood management in particular catchments and see if we could desynchronise the times at which the floodwater got to the towns.
The maps has helped us to understand the scale of interventions that might be required in a catchment for NFM. So we've targeted some of our work into the smaller catchments where we're more likely to be able to make a difference to the communities at risk. We've already started work on the ground in the Dovenby Beck catchment. We've been installing leaky dams just upstream of the community of Dovenby, and last weekend Storm Callum hit us and they were tested quite significantly, but they appear to be holding up and they appear to be working well, so it's good.
We used them to look at the whole of the Upper Eden catchment, which is the area that we have the mapping for. And I could look at where there was most opportunity within that catchment. So that gave me a prioritised list of the catchments that had the most natural flood management opportunity. And then I could match those up with where we knew there were water quality issues and where we had local support. And then that gave me a top 2 or 3 within the area that I could put forward for funding.
The South Cumbria Catchment Management Group is formed of a number of project partners, of which South Cumbria Rivers Trust is one. The other partners we've worked with are Cumbria Wildlife Trust, Natural England and the Forestry Commission, among a few others as well. Through this process we've identified sub-catchments and also areas of expertise to work on. So for example, South Cumbria Rivers Trust have been working on particular tributaries, whereas Forestry Commission might have been working on some of the upland forests. The maps have really helped us to sell the idea of natural flood management to our stakeholders.
As stakeholders within the modelling project, it's helped us to understand some of the data gaps, and that will help to make the modelling even better going forward in the future.
So the stakeholders that we deal with are mainly through the Eden Catchment Management Group, and the Rivers Trust took the opportunity maps to the Catchment Management Group very early on, and our stakeholders had opportunity to feed into them and say whether there was any criticisms of the map in their current format. The maps were then taken away and modified a little bit, and hopefully they're far more useful to our stakeholders in the sort of second reiteration of the modelling.
In addition, the government are seeking to address evidence gaps as well, and they want to use the data like this and the modelling to understand how the FCRM strategy can be changed in the future. So by undertaking that modelling and working to fill the data gaps that are still out there, we're hopeful it will influence the government spend on natural flood management measures in the future.
Currently, the NFM opportunities that we've been looking at have been very focused upstream of communities at risk. We hope that in the future we can take these technologies and the evidence that we've gathered and actually apply that to other catchments in our area and see this technology carry on in future.